Hey dudes, what's up? Today we're going to talk about slaughter, the wildlife, and its effect on rock and roll scene in the early 90s.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm going to be joining MCR Review this episode, so tune in.
Wildlife, I would say, is definitely a darker record considering the time is moving forward into the 90s and times are starting to change.
Times are getting darker. I mean, it even shows, like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but if you've seen the Wildlife documentary, when they start presenting the album covers, the one they chose, like, even all the artwork, it was kind of like interpretive, like, artwork with a lot of meaning. And if you look at the album of Wildlife, it's this young boy with a guitar and he's getting whipped and beaten. It's like kids are rebelling against their parents and authority. And if you notice, the more you go into the 90s, the more they try to get away from rock and roll. Glam's not in anymore. Being yourself's not anymore. Being seen to be weird, to even dress too outlandish.
The youth's under attack.
Yeah, the youth.
Literally.
They're under attack. And it's just, they're fighting for their life. They're fighting for, like, just, like, being themselves is, like, they're just fighting for it. And the Wildlife is just all about that. And out of all the pictures, I'm glad they chose that art for the album cover because
Me too.
when you see it, it kind of makes you shiver. Like, it really makes you, like, whoa. Like, you feel that. I just love that.
Not me, I just thought it was cool.
It's cool, but it makes me feel things. Like, I really love it. Like, I like it when art kind of, like, shakes me up. And, like, I feel like musicians make the best, like, decisions with, like, the right art. Like, Guns N' Roses album covers, like, Appetite for Destruction. Not Appetite. Oh, no. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Like, the art for that just says a lot. It speaks. It's the simple, but the colors, especially when they chose, like, different colors.
Like the blue and then the red, the yellow.
It really, yeah, it's like,
the color schemes definitely make
it's different. Like, if you listen to Use Your Illusion 2, it's so much sadder than the first Use Your Illusion.
And it's blue.
Yeah. Okay. But, no, like, Wildlife is, like, more intense because, like she said, we're not in the 80s anymore. In the 80s was a time of fun. Everyone was happy.
In
People were more expressive. Everyone was different.
Right? Yeah, we're in 1992, so...
Everyone was different, and now everyone has to be the same. Like, even now the bands are changing, like, all the young bands, like the younger ones, like Slaughter and Trickster, like, their hair is, like, not as teased up anymore. They're wearing, like, I mean, they still look good. But it's, like, their colors aren't, there's, like, no neon, really, and...
We're wearing flannel like I am today, Axl Rose inspired.
Or a hockey jersey like I am. You know, they'll do things like that. It's, like, more simple, and it's, like, because it's, like, not cool anymore to just, like, be weird.
Yeah, it's like the youth is literally being put down, and this record is literally a reaction to that, you know?
It is. There's so much going on, like, there's so much going on in this record, like, it's just so much going on. Like, what are your two favorite songs on the album?
My two favorite songs, personally, on the album is Times They Change and Do You Know? Because Times They Change, I really like the message of that song and how it's not like, it's crazy. It's not actually bumming me out, but it's giving me a clear view of what the world is becoming and how we're just getting away from glam, unfortunately. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, for some reason, it doesn't make me sad, though.
I'm glad you say that because it's like Times They Change is my first favorite song on the album because it's just like that song, it's like everyone's going, we're through the transition period.
Yeah.
You know, we're transitioning. Like, it's the beginning of the 90s. You saw things left over from the 80s, like, starting to dwindle. And then, like,
color.
Yeah, and then this, I mean, early 90s, especially in California, there was still so much neon. People know early 90s for neon. But if you notice, they started introducing newer trends, like more of a business look is in, cutting your hair to the curtains is in. You know what I mean? It's like everything started, even like, you know that Cinderella video? With Jared Leto?
That's Coming Home.
Yeah. That's Coming Home. You know that one? When they're in the house?
Yeah, my second favorite
curtains!
Song,
okay, curtains!
My second favorite song is Do You Know? Because I really like how it starts out. It's like, it kind of reminds me of, like, kind of like a horse. It's like a horse going through, like, the desert almost. That's kind of what it reminds me of, like the galloping.
What Dana Strum looked like in Love Kills. He looked like he was galloping.
That wasn't Love Kills.
I can't.
That time of year.
That time of year. Yeah, that time of year.
Like, and then it's like, I really like
that
how.
Yellow shirt.
And then it's like, I just really like how. I don't know. It's really like the melodies and the tempo change of that song. It's just really cool. Like, it feels cool to listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my second favorite song is Real Love. I love that song. Like, I lose it. Like,
yeah.
I love Real
so
Love.
much strength in that song.
It is. It's like, and you know what? I feel like, honestly, I may be wrong, but, like, I feel like, honestly, it's not just talking about real love. You know, it's like, real love is
their lyrics definitely have so many different layers and meanings, and that's one of the things I really like about them.
Yeah, like, in Real Love, it's like, he says, is anyone true anymore? It's like, he's not just talking about, like, how romance is dead and no one really wants anyone anymore. Like, you know, he's also, I feel like he's talking about nothing's real anymore and everything's changing, everything's a facade, and everything's
it's like,
just
again, we're going back to
that's why I use an actress backstage and everything, because
becoming.
she's playing like she's in love, like, life is playing. You know, it's a lie. Everything's a lie. I mean, grunge kind of really started in the 89, but didn't really become full-fledged until the 90s.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Nirvana. Nirvana was, like, really not known like that. They weren't as popular as people. They got really popular when Kurt died. Yeah, 94. Yeah. That's when he got popular. There was other bands, like, there was other grunge bands that were just way on more on the surface. Like, yeah, long hair is still in, but unwashed long hair, you know.
It was gross. It was dirty.
They looked like
dirty
homeless surfers.
Shirts, your dirty combat boots.
On the Seattle beach.
And,
that was apparently
they were kind of rebelling a little bit of both genres because, you know, they're like, okay, we're not grunge, we're not into that. And it's like they kind of are all formerly glam guys,
but they're rebelling against that because they're older than them. I feel like I feel like they don't hate glam as much as they want to say. It's like they don't. It's more.
I don't think so either.
Right? Yeah. It's like, mention how Dana and Mark were in Vinnie Vincent. They were all glammed up, but now they're not. But it's like, it's more like they had like experience with like the older guys because they're babies, they're Gen Xers.
When they're in Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Yeah, they were in Vinnie Vincent Invasion, and Vinnie Vincent was horrible to them. Like, that's their claims. Like, he was horrible to them. He was really mean. He actually said to Mark that his voice was so bad. Like, he was like, he talked to him like Crystal was Jamae. Like, oh my god, please stop. Like, he was like really that mean to him. Yeah. And it's like Dana and him were like, you know, fuck it. We're gonna start our own band. So they're kind of sticking to the
Boys Are Gonna Rock. He was lip syncing that song because the other singer, John.
We could tell it was a little pitchy. I mean, I love Boys Are Gonna Rock, but it's not my favorite. It's okay. It's like the guy's too pitchy. Kind of sounds like a wannabe Mark. I don't know. I could be wrong.
A little bit.
Like he's whining and singing through his nose, and I'm like,
but yeah, another reason why I feel like they're rebelling a little bit against glam is because it's getting such a back burner, and it's getting so much hate,
pressured, right?
And it's like the pressure, and then it's like the youth, they can't really relate to that anymore because, like I said,
like
the time just sucks now, and it's kind of like glam.
They can't like say happiness and freedom.
It's happy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not.
And they're like, well, I don't get that.
They're like, I'm not fucking happy. I'm pissed off. I hate the way the
world
is
right now. You know,
like everything just fucking.
I'm not laughing.
Everything just fucking sucks now.
Everything's unhappy.
That's kind of what Slaughter. That's what Slaughter is reflecting on in this album, which is what makes it such a great album. And it doesn't fall into that sophomore slump because they really are giving you a real vision into what's going on right now and kind of making you aware of where rock and roll is going.
They're the voice of the children, and nobody knows where rock stands more than the youth. If the youth doesn't even mention rock at all, like now, that means they ain't here.
They're not. Like, the youth is dead now.
The youth is dead. Like, it's over. Kids don't have it.
Like, Slaughter, they're kind of like
they were like, hey, this is what the kids are seeing. This is what the kids are experiencing.
And it's like
this is what the kids are doing. They still
sounded like Slaughter and still had Slaughter, but they evolved into kind of like another version to kind of give you a dosage of what's happening.
It's like that. The face sounds like, oh, like a wannabe, like, young 90s, like, I'm Johnny, I'm like sorrow. Yeah. Like Billy Joel.
And then we have the opposite of like Warren with Dog Eat Dog. And they're basically sticking it to every other fucker in their life.
I'm like this album.
No, this album.
fat leather biker shorts.
Dude,
Jerry Dixon.
This album's fucking personal. Like, I feel attacked when I listen to it, and
muscles
I love
that
it.
Shirt.
I love being attacked by Warren.
Me too.
Do you have a Warren
I'm not your welcome mat. I'm like, fuck yes, you're not their welcome mat. You fucking ripped into shit like Machine Gun.
Oh my god,
that song.
I played it at the concert.
I lost my shit. I'm like, they're not playing Machine Gun. Like, oh my god. But no, do you see how angry that is? Remember Warren? She's my cherry pie. I was so happy.
Yeah.
What happened to you were not to welcome that?
They're still sticking to the glam thing, but they're making it what they're kind of giving you what their life is right now
like
and what they're dealing with, you know, because
it is the 90s.
gone
Because everyone hates everybody. No happy patterns. I could have done that, but they chose not to. They're the same age.
They are, but they did start a little later, and honestly,
babies.
I kind of want to put the blame a little bit on Dana.
He's old. He could have helped them.
He takes control over the band a lot, and he kind of basically exudes himself as the leader of the band.
Some people in the inner circle might allude to the fact that Bloss is sort of. Some people might allude to the fact that Bloss is kind of like, well, Dana's welcome back. Like, he's his sidekick, he's his little puppy, he's his Pinocchio, and he's Geppetto. He's his bitch. In prison, on the streets, we call that your bitch. And, like, yeah, it's like Dana's kind of, like, not as jolly. But if you watch the documentaries, Dana takes over. He interrupts, and he's like, oh, and I'm like,
he takes over with everything in the band.
I would love to hear Tim Kelly.
And I really think that's why the band kind of goes in that direction. I also feel a little bit of pushing and pulling with the band because it seems like they just don't see eye to eye, especially with Dana's vision. So yeah, you go first this time.
I love so much about this album. Like, I mean, I already talked about enough. Like how I love the cover and like the colors. Like fucking, it's like Scorsese red and like Edgar Allan Poe black. It's angry. It's fucking mad. You know what I mean? There's different shades and like I feel like I convey that and I get mad a lot. Especially, I kind of relate to this album. I'm gonna tell you why. Nothing's like this time period. It's the worst time period ever. But the 90s was a tragic time and it killed everything I loved. And it's just like that. The wildlife is like kind of like documenting how the world is like in that album. And I'm kind of like, and when there's times they change, I'm like, fuck, like times are so horrible now.
I really feel
and
that
love. I feel that because like no one's real, no one's honest, and everyone's getting fucking married because they just need somewhere to live. Yeah. Like that's how I feel.
Especially like the hauntings, like I don't know, it sounds kind of haunting when you hear the different news reports and like everyone talking and like the acoustic guitar kind of going into the outro of the song.
Yeah. Dude, when news reports went to songs, like it kind of made me feel weird. Like like I know it's like so stereotypical, but Wind of Change from the Scorpions, like our world really is beautiful. I know it's weird, but I kind of compare that to like the wildlife because when Wind of Change came out in the 80s, wildlife. Okay, like Wind of Change is like the woman's like it really shows like when she's looking at Earth, she's like our world really is a beautiful place and we need to start taking care of it. World was not taken care of. The 90s came. The world fell apart. It's Mad Max out there. It's crazy. Like seriously, it's like I feel like it's kind of a reflection. It's like the world's not a beautiful place anymore. You don't meet a lot of people that say, wow, it's just so beautiful. Like, that kind of stopped in the 90s. The 90s was when people started saying, I don't know if I want to have kids in this type of world anymore. You heard that in sitcoms, everywhere. And The Wildlife is literally a documentary for that year, because that year marked an end of an era. Like, 92 was, like, the beginning of when you start seeing, like, shit's about to get real. Like, 90 and 91 was kind of like, things are going to change, but you know what? Things are still good. We still have big hair. Like, it's kind of like people, like, those who are easily delusioned, they're still, like, feeling everything. But 92 is when people are like, whoa, it's really different now. That's when people start saying, these 90s women. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, everyone started getting too hardcore and, like, fucking, like, edged, like,
and that's why I like that album, too, because it hits you so hard and heavy, and it kind of reflects how everyone is feeling about what's going on right now, you know?
Yeah, no one reflects better than how the kids feel. People always say, "Oh, it's just teen angst." I'm like, you're your most honest when you're a teenager.
I like how there was different sides to the album. It's like we have a little bit of serious, but then we get into the fun, like Do You Know? You know what I mean? And like Reach for the Sky. I love that song.
I love that one.
That's
oh my
such a cool
god.
song.
Just reach for the sky.
And it's like he really goes up, like reaching for the sky, you know? I think that's really cool.
Yes. It is like
and
Daisy Gloss, like,
but it's like
plane. That's cool.
It really does put a closing end to rock and roll as you know it, and it just really changes.
Gone are the headbands. Gone are like, you know, everyone dressing up on stage. Gone are like everyone like literally having a good time. Gone are like the hot girl and
like,
boy groupies.
You know, Wildlife and Mad About You.
Wildlife is like talking about like Wildlife. I feel like it's like, okay, there was Wildlife in the 80s and there's Wildlife now. And the Wildlife video, not to bring it up again, but it looked like Mad Max. It's like everything was falling apart. There was just chaos. It was horrible. Like, you're taking the innocence out. Like,
and not cute, like, In Excess's Listen Like These, which was released in
85. That was fun. It was like a fantasy world, like,
oh,
this is the future.
Fun,
We're doing this cute future thing of Listen Like These. No, this is like, this is how it is now. That's how it looks. It's like, this is where we are now. It's just falling apart. No one's cute. Everyone's ugly. It's just bad. It's like, it's just so sad. Like, that's the Wildlife now.
Yeah, that's kind of, we're entering the Wildlife, and that's
and we haven't, and it's only got worse.
So, now, like, when you see the album and you see it's finished, now you kind of see it, how it kind of turned into today.
I'm literally calling Wildlife the timeline of 92.
Yeah. And the timeline of rock and roll ending.